From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, families of abducted Abuja Kaduna passengers beg government to listen as terrorists threaten killing of captives. Former Aviation Minister Stella Odua in NYSC certificate forgery scandal. Few days to PDP presidential primary, Peter Obi resigns party membership, opts out of race. On the foreign scene, at least 22 killed in latest police raid on Rio Favela in Brazil. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayinde Shuaga. A new video of some passengers abducted by gunmen during the Abuja-Kaduna train attack has been released. In the short clip, 6 passengers, including a Pakistani, were seen sitting and kneeling in front of the camera with a gun-wielding man in green balaclava marshalling them. Some of the victims who spoke appealed to the federal government to heed demands of their abductors to ensure their release. Mohammed, the Pakistani, urged both the Nigerian government and the authorities of his home country to come to the victims' aid. An unnamed victim in hijab reiterated the plea amid tears, adding that she is in captivity alongside her family. Recent reports said the abductors have threatened to start killing hostages in 7 days if their demands are not met. The terrorists demanded the release of their children, who they said are in the custody of the Nigerian army.
I'm calling on the government of Kaduna State, the federal government of Nigeria, and the entire human rights group to assist us and ensure that the demands of our abductors are met. The kidnappers said unless their demands are met, nobody would leave alive. They accused the government of not fulfilling its promises, and they said some of their children have been abducted by the Nigerian army, demanding that they are released within 5 days before they would consider any passenger. My name is Mariama Abubakar. I was kidnapped on the train from Abuja to Kaduna. We're appealing to everybody that is in the position to please come to our aid and give our abductors their demands so that they can let us go. I am here with my entire family.
Tamina Mahmood, a pregnant woman freed by bandits who attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train on the 28th of March, says the bandits have given conditions for the release of other victims. Speaking in Hausa to Daily Trust, Tamina said the bandits were demanding the release of their colleagues in exchange for the victims in captivity.
When
I was taken into captivity, the bandit took care of me. There was nothing I asked for they didn't do for me. They released me because I told them I couldn't give birth on my own, but they didn't let me go without giving me a message for the government. What they need is for the government to release their 8 children. If the government listen to their needs, they will also release some of the people they captured. The story about me giving birth in captivity was false.
Families of abducted passengers of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack have appealed to the government to release the children of the abductors of their relatives from detention so that the terrorists can in turn release the passengers in captivity. In a video released by the abductors, government has been given a 7-day ultimatum to release their children or the 62 passengers will be killed. The report.
At a press briefing Wednesday morning, the relatives of the victims said they are ready to take the children of the terrorists to the forest if only government can do the needful to save their loved ones.
We, the families of AK9 Abuja Kaduna train abducted passengers, woke up yesterday to the sad reality of a recorded audio tape from the abductors of our family members. In the reference audio tape was some highly disturbing information, and since then, life has not been the same with us. It is exactly 58 days since our loved ones were captured, and 23 days after Mr. President issued a directive to security agencies for their immediate and safe rescue. We are still anxiously waiting for a positive outcome of rescue efforts. We are appealing to the abductors of our family members to show compassion to them as fellow Nigerians.
What they are saying is that there are eight children, which we have the names, and which they said in that audio, then Yola, they should be brought down to Kaduna here, and if the government cannot take the children there, they should give us the responsibility. We will take the children personally to them in the forest so that we can get our loved ones out.
The relatives, who say they are now communicating directly with the terrorists, want government to release their abductors' 8 children to ensure the safe return of their own relatives.
The good news we have is that those that abducted our loved ones are speaking to us directly. So what you are hearing from me, it's unadulterated. They sent a video to us. We had actually asked them the list of the children, their children they wanted. They sent that to us. So as far as I'm concerned, we are building confidence between us and them. For now, I don't have any reason to doubt them because we have 62 people there. We want them out. The government should take their responsibility serious.
The audio was really terrifying because I almost crashed down after listening to that audio. It's not easy. That was a big, terrible horror for me in my whole life. I have never experienced such thing in my life.
People, all we are saying, bring back our people. All
Nigerians are still waiting the release of the train attack victims, but the question many are asking is whether government will facilitate the release of the victims before the expiration of the 7 days ultimatum given by the terrorist. Lami Sadiq for Trust TV News.
The pregnant woman killed alongside her 4 children have been buried in Anambra State. Militants of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, gunned them down at Isulo, Orumba North local government area of the state on Sunday. Sarki Kabiru Bakari, leader of the Hausa community in Orumba South, Anambra State, told Daily Trust in an interview that the corpses of the victims were recovered on Tuesday evening. He, however, said the plan to take them to their hometown in Adamawa for burial was cancelled because the corpses were not taken care of in the mortuary and could not withstand the travel to the north. Bakari added that security personnel had been deployed to the area, adding that the Anambra State Police Commissioner had visited and assured them bringing the perpetrators to book. President Muhammadu Buhari has warned those killing innocent people in the southeast to expect a tough response from security forces. He condemned the viral videos circulating of innocent people being killed, describing it as wild and barbarous. The presidency also cautioned against the indiscriminate sharing of posts that can incite violence on social media. President Buhari's response comes a few days after gunmen killed at least 12 people, including a pregnant woman and her 4 children in Anambra State. A community leader said the pregnant woman and her children were returning home on a motorcycle taxi when gunmen ambushed them in the Orumba area of the state. The same situation occurred after gunmen beheaded a lawmaker in the state, Okechukwu Okoye. The National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has said a former aviation minister and senator representing Anambra North, Stella Odua, does not have a valid NYSC certificate. In a letter replying to the request by the concerned Anambra North People's Democratic Party stakeholders, which sought to validate the claim by the senator that she lost her NYSC certificate, the Director General of the NYSC said even though Odua was mobilized for national service in 1982-83 service year and was deployed to Lagos State, she absconded after the orientation and never completed the service. The letter was dated 24th May 2022. In 2014, Odua deposed to an affidavit and obtained a police extract where she stated that she sometime in 2010, while in transit from Akili in Ogboru local government area to Abuja, discovered that some of her personal belongings were missing. However, the concerned Anambra North People's Democratic Party stakeholders wrote to the NYSC Director General to issue them with a certified true copy of the Certificate of National Service with the Youth Service Corps issued to Stella Adeze Odua in 1982-83. By the letter, NYSC has confirmed that Odua served as minister in breach of the nation's extant law, barring anyone who fails to do national service after acquiring the necessary educational level from being employed by government, and should also not be allowed to hold public offices. Former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, has withdrawn from the contest for the presidential ticket of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. He announced his withdrawal from the party's primary in a letter dated May 24 and addressed to the national chairman of the main opposition party, Senator Iyorchia Ayu. Besides pulling out of the contest for the party's presidential ticket barely 3 days to the exercise, the presidential aspirant also announced his resignation from the PDP. He explained that he took the decision to leave the party because of his firm commitment to rescuing Nigeria, even if the route differs. The presidential aspirant informed the PDP chairman that he has since conveyed his resignation and withdrawal from the primary to the chairman of Agulu Ward 2, his ward in Anaucha local government area of Anambra State. The New Nigeria People's Party, NPP, says it has so far surpassed 11 million membership drive and is poised to displace the two dominant political parties in the country. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Agbo Major, who gave the hint in an exclusive interview with Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman, also speaks on the party's level of preparedness ahead of the 2023 general elections.
Very little is known about the 21-year-old political party until recently, when it displaced PDP as opposition party in Kano, with gale of defection from both APC and PDP of prominent politicians into its fold, though not much visible due to limited resources at its disposal. But it survives the access of two electoral umpires, Professor Tahiru Jega and his successor, Mahmoud Yakubu.
So that the party is alive till today, I don't need to tell you deeper, but you should know that the party has done all that was possible within the resources available to it to have been able to, scale through all those processes.
The NNPP is coming to limelight courtesy of its adoption by the former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, in his bid to have a platform to showcase his grassroots political appeal.
The man is a household name, not just in Kano, but all over the Federation. At least you've seen him move around the country. And the other day I was just wondering, in Edo State, Benin, getting out of the airport terminal building was a problem.
As it consolidates on the ongoing mass mobilization ahead of a crucial general election, the NNPP is hoping to wrestle power from the incumbent APC.
It's the desire, the crave for Nigerians to have a new order. What is on the lips of every Nigerian is a new Nigeria. We're tired. Look at a country of how many years? How many years in democracy? this one that we're experiencing now uninterrupted, about 20-something years now, and then Nigerians have nothing to show for it.
But the task before it is to gain acceptance and popularity beyond its current stronghold. Pull as much political gladiators as it can to garner the needed financial muscle to compete against the established dominant parties to secure the required victory. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri, has lost his bid to represent Nasarawa South Senatorial District at the National Assembly. Abubakar Abdullahi reports that the DGNOA, former House of Representatives member Mohammed Onawo, defeated the ex-DG at the just concluded People's Democratic Party senatorial primary held in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi filed in this report as presented from our studio.
This is the ex-Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri's first shot at the senatorial district election, which he lost to Mohammed Onawo, who served as Nasarawa State House of Assembly Speaker from 2003 to 2007, and 2 terms House of Representatives member representing Awe Doma, Kiana constituency from 2011 to 2019. In the keenly contested race, Onawo scored 88 votes, while Omeri garnered 76 votes, as declared by the returning officer, Tonji To Ayin. Mohammed Onawo described the process as a family affair and called on his co-contestant to work together for the success of the party. Similarly, Umar Galadima, who polled 152 votes, defeated the trio of Bala Ahmed Aliyu, Angama Webi, and Averason Samuel to emerge the PDP Nasarawa North senatorial candidate, while Nathaniel Aboki clinched the party ticket in Nasarawa North. Also, the PDP delegates in Nasarawa State have elected 5 House of Representatives and 24 House of Assembly members through primary elections at different designated centers.
Former Minister of Information and Communication, Aliyu Bilbis, has emerged the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for Zamfara Central Senatorial District. Bilbis polled 114 votes to beat 2 other aspirants at the primaries to clinch the ticket. The report. That story will come later. Ahead of the Thursday's governorship primary election under the All Progressives Congress, APC, across the country, aspirants are in last-minute consultations to convince delegates to support them. Unlike some states with fewer candidates that delegates have to choose from, the APC in Katsina has 10 aspirants jostling for the ticket. Jamil Mabai takes a look at the leading contenders and the role of delegates as they get set to decide who will lead a population of over 8 million people.
Banners and posters are in strategic locations, while politicians are meeting delegates ahead of Thursday's gubernatorial primary election of the All Progressive Congress across the country. The battle for the governorship position has reached its climax in Katsina State, as 10 aspirants battle for the ticket, while one victor, to be decided by the party delegates, will emerge. Whoever emerges and goes ahead to win the general election will inherit a state battling insecurity that has led to the displacement of thousands of people, rising debt and the poverty, closed schools, as well as a dearth of rural infrastructure. In the past, godfatherism played a role in who delegates chose, but with no anointed candidate from the government or presidency. Observers believe competence, ability to sell their manifesto, and financial muscle will influence the choice of delegates. Among the 10 aspirants, the first battle would be fought between 3 aspirants: the Deputy Governor QS Maniri Yakubu, the former Secretary to the State Government Mustafa Inuwa, and the former Managing Director Nigerian Security Minting and Printing Company Abbas Masanawa. Dr. Mustafa Inua is considered a trailblazer in politics of Katsina State, with some seeing him as the brain behind Masari's administration and the man behind Masari's emergence in 2015. He has been in active political scene for almost 3 decades until his declaration and show of interest to join the governorship race. He was the secretary to the state government, a position he held 3 times. QS Maneri Yakubu is successfully serving as deputy governor under the administration of Masari from 2015 to date. His camp projects him as someone that Masari enjoys working with harmoniously. His supporters believe that there is no better candidate to continue from where Masari stops than the second in command. He was also a gubernatorial aspirant in 2011 under the then Congress for Progressive Change.
Deep sense of responsibility, commitment, loyalty.
Abbas Masanawa is the new sensation. Aside Mr. Masanawa being the former managing director of Zenith Bank, where he enjoyed working relationship with the present CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, until his declaration, little can be said about his career. He has never occupied a political position within or outside the state. He is mostly perceived as a visitor and nicknamed the late comer. It is the hope of the people of Katsina State that these delegates will look beyond what these aspirants can offer in terms of money and vote for competence. Jamil Mabai, Trust TV News, Katsina.
6 aspirants will on Thursday slug it out at the primary to decide who will fly the flag of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Gombe State. The aspirants are Jamilu Isiaku Gwamna, Sadauna Gombe, former Chief Executive Officer, SunTrust Bank, Jibrin Dambarde, Air Vice Marshal Shehu Adamu Fura, retired, former Minister of State for Health, Dr. Abubakar Ali Gombe, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry for Niger Delta, Dr. Babayo Ado, and former Managing Director, Federal Mortgage Bank, Alhaji Yau Gimba. Chairman of the Governorship Primary Election Committee, Mike Ogiadome, said 328 delegates have been accredited to vote in the election. Any of the aspirant who emerges will face candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, who could be the incumbent governor, Inuwa Yahaya, in the 2023 elections. You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Coming up after the break, how Sokoto government supports fish farmers. Stay with us.
Welcome to Inside Abuja.
Most people who drive on Nigerian roads believe that it's only when you see a law enforcement agent that you are supposed to behave. Meanwhile, you already know what is right for you.
You cannot take what we cannot give. So they cannot come and enforce us and take what they cannot give us. So if there is something they want to take from us, there must be a unanimous arrangement that if they collect to us, they have something to give us.
Well, there's a group of vigilantes. They are trying small. Sometimes they used to come out in the night.
For Abuja Investments Company Limited owned markets, the market itself is insured. That is for the owners of the market itself.
The carton of Nigerian chicken was 8,000 naira, but we are selling it 18,000 naira now. Kilo was 1,000 naira, 1,100 then, but now we are selling it 2,000 naira. And it is not our fault, it is the way we buy.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Trust News Hour. Now, a recap of our top stories. Former Aviation Minister Stella Odua in NYSC certificate forgery scandal. And few days to PDP presidential primary, Peter Obi resigns party membership, opts out of race. Moving to other stories, a female House of Representatives aspirant for Lafia Obi constituency in Nasarawa State, Mariam Musa Muhammad, has appealed to delegates to vote for her in the forthcoming primary. Mariam Musa Muhammad, who is contesting the seat under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, said supporting her ambition will boost the confidence of other women to participate in politics. The Lafia Obi federal constituency aspirant, who promised to ensure that her constituents enjoy the dividends of democracy if she emerges victorious in the primaries and the general election in 2023, said supporting her aspiration will ensure gender balance in governance, as there were few elected female councillors in Nasarawa State.
And my reason for running for this office is because I want to try to make a difference to what I have so far seen happening in my community. We have voted for people, we have stood our grounds and voted for people, but we haven't seen much changes being done in our communities. So with that, I got inspired to come and run for this office. I want to run for this office because I want to involve women in our policies. I want to fight for the women's rights. I want to fight for child rights. I want to involve or include the disabled. And I also want to remember to put the girl-child education first. They have been left behind for so long, and I think that it's time to involve them. The youth are not exempted, because the youth are being put aside. And being a youth myself, I want to run for this office to put them in what we're doing.
Mariam Musa Muhammad. The former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, has kicked against micro-zoning the presidential ticket to the southeast by the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. Akpabio, who was in Yola to canvass the APC delegates' vote ahead of the party's presidential primary, insisted that competence should not be jettisoned for any reason during the primary. He said he is one of the Nigerians who believes in the unity of the country, asserting that voting him will end insecurity. He added he has helped many Northerners through empowerment programs, including sponsoring some for foreign studies. The former governor urged delegates to consider national unity during the presidential nomination of the party. The state APC chairman and other speakers acknowledged his contributions to nation building.
We don't make mistakes in 2023. Nigeria has never really been for sale. Nigeria has never really been for sale. So anybody who thinks he can buy Nigeria, that's his own. I came to appeal to you, to give me the opportunity to work with you, to turn things around, to make our women to go back to the farms, to put our children back to work, to bring back the cotton factories that we used to have, to reactivate the industries, and then we'll go back and also reactivate the mining sector. And then, of course, crude oil is diminishing. Then we'll go into the gas sector. For me, those three major items, when you look at the first issue is security, the second one is the issue of what? National unity and integration, which I represent.
We are all in APC. It's a family issue. And it is God who knows who's going to be president of Nigeria, not any other person. As far as I'm concerned, as a leader of APC in this state, we have to discuss with the national delegates, and I'm sure at the convention, then we will be able to move forward.
The three-man ad hoc Congress in Anambra State has experienced another setback as the panel supervising Anambra North and South senatorial zones failed to appear in time to conduct the elections. The election, which has been postponed in the past due to internal party crises, was scheduled to hold on Tuesday, but as at 5 p.m., the panel supervising the Congress was yet to arrive. The committee in charge of Anambra Central was present and conducted the Congress at the different wards in the senatorial district, but the Congress for the South and North zones did not hold. Some aspirants expressed disappointment with the failure of the exercise, which they said hampers the progress of the party in the state.
You know what your problem is. You don't want to address your problem. My advice to you is to go to your ward to ensure there is one Congress. If you don't see results, record your results. Show it out and send to the party.
As we speak, 5 p.m. is about the time, and there is no Congress so far in the Women Development Center, the venue that was secretly informed to us earlier today, because we didn't even know the venue of the Congress. These are totally avoidable errors. If we don't conduct the ad hoc today, we can't conduct the primary tomorrow. And without this, we run the risk of PDP not presenting any candidate in the House of Assembly, in the House of Reps, and the Senate in Anambra State. I actually want to use this opportunity to urge the national chairman of PDP, Senator Iyochi Ayu, to do the needful and correct the mess in Anambra PDP.
No fewer than 150 members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Boluwaduro local government area of Osun State on Tuesday defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC. The state governor, Adegboyega Oyetola, who is also the candidate of the APC in the July 16 governorship election in the state, received the former PDP members. Speaking on behalf of the defectors, Kolawole Akimboladun of Ward 4 in Boluwaduro local government area said the modest achievements of Governor Oyetola and his humility were the reasons for their defection from the PDP to the APC. Kolawole noted that those that defected were prominent members of the PDP in the area, adding that they are ready to work for APC for the re-election of Governor Oyetola. Presidential primaries of political parties will be without statutory delegates since Section 84, subsection 8 has not been signed into law since its passage by the National Assembly. Number of delegates for the All Progressives Congress, PAPC, is consequently reduced from 7,800 to 2,340, while that of People's Democratic Party, PDP, fell to 811 from 3,800. Implication of this is that a few number of delegates will determine presidential candidates for the Nigerian voter. The report.
One delegate each from the 774 local government areas and Abuja area councils, plus one special delegate per state, will make up the 811 PDP delegates for the presidential primary of the party. 15 presidential aspirants have been screened for the Saturday convention. For the ruling APC, 3 delegates from each of the 774 local government areas and Abuja area councils, giving a total of 2,340 delegates, will determine the fate of its 25 presidential aspirants. Omission or non-eligibility of statutory delegates to vote has reduced the influence of states with population numerical strength. For instance, local state has only 60 APC and 21 PDP delegates. Kano, the most populous state, can only boast of 132 APC and 45 PDP delegates. Many commentators believe that omission of statutory delegates leave elected delegates with powers to impose candidates on the rest of the country.
We already have an existing legal framework. We already have a law governing the conduct of our election, including the primaries. So that law must be complied with, must be obeyed. Any attempt to violate that law, a tantamount disregarding our electoral law. This amendment has also not been in the interest of even ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance, because the same reason that the President gave to the nation in 2019 for refusing to sign the amended electoral law in 2019 prior to the election, it is also the same reason that he must not also sign this one now. If you tamper with it now at the middle of the primaries of political parties, that is completely unfair and not in the best interest of even democracy. The only way to address it is to comply with the existing legal framework. We already have a law that must be complied with. Any attempt to change other political parties, it will create political chaos, and it will end up, in court, and court will not be the one to determine election in the country, which shouldn't be the only reason for that. Court should only come when there are genuine disputes.
Amended Section 84, subsection 8 of the Electoral Act, if eventually passed into law, will allow elected party officials and elected public officials to vote during the political party primary, but that has not happened yet.
The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has postponed the trial of the detained leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, till June 28. The court had on March 18 slated Thursday to continue proceedings on the treasonable felony charge of the federal government preferred against Kanu. However, the lead counsel for the IPOB leader, Ifeanyi Ejiofor, who was held head of the defendant's legal team, in a statement on Wednesday, disclosed that the case will no longer proceed as earlier scheduled due to the unavailability of the trial judge, Justice Binta Nyako. The court had on the last day adjourned date declined to release the embattled IPOB leader on bail, pending the determination of the charge against him. Operatives of Ogun State Police Command on Tuesday apprehended 4 members of the dreaded Eye cult group, where they were holding a nocturnal meeting in preparation for an attack on members of another cult group. A statement by the police public relations officer, Ogun State Police Command, Abimbola Oyeyemi, said the suspects, Oriyomi Bankole, aka Autumn, Odedino Sodiq, Shofola Ayodeji, and Adelawa Ayo, were arrested at different locations in Okelantoro and Technical College Leme, following a credible information received by the police that the suspects were meeting in those locations to plan an attack. Recovered from them are cutlasses, battle axes, and criminal charms. In the meantime, the Commissioner of Police, Lanre Bankole, assured people of Ogun State that the command will not relent in its efforts to rid the state of criminal elements masquerading as cultists. He appealed to the public to partner the police in the war against criminals by informing the police of strange gatherings within their vicinity. The Kwara State Primary Healthcare Development Agency has taken delivery of 500 hospital beds and beddings to boost healthcare system in the state. This is coming as the state has equally scaled up its dental and eye care centers with modern equipment. The report.
The 500 hospital beds with their accessories were supplied to the Kwara Primary Healthcare Development Agency by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals. This follows the commitment of the Kwara State government in meeting the requirement for the supply.
His commitment to the primary healthcare sector in the state, because not every state was qualified for this intervention, for this support from the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, because they're actually watching, and then they're very, if the state is proactive, if the governor is proactive, then they're encouraged to support proactive governors.
The Executive Secretary of the Kwara State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Nusirat Elelu, promised to ensure equitable distribution of the supply.
Right now, we have already asked local governments to generate a list of facilities for that, so that we can identify the gaps of the bed requirements in each of the facilities. Although we can't go, we can't meet all the needs. About 1,600 beds were requested for, of which we are going to see how we can judiciously and equitably, based on needs, distribute those beds to the health facilities.
In the meantime, the Kwara State Hospital Management Bureau has commenced the refurbishment of the dental clinic and eye care center at the General Hospital Ilorin. The Bureau says the quality of equipment has now made the facility one of the best in northern Nigeria.
What we have also done in addition to having the center is just there as a building, but what is also critical are the equipment that you have in there. So we now have ultra-modern equipment, dental chairs that are of highest quality, the standard that can meet any private hospitals or any private dental institution indeed in the country, can compete favorably.
I would say the facility here is second to none in Kwara State as a whole. And of course, in North Central, apart from the National Eye Center, I think this is a facility that will be second. So, and of course, since we moved into this facility, we've enjoyed a lot of support from government, apart from, giving us the structure. We've also had support of, equipment-wise.
Patronage has improved since the upgrade of dental clinic and the eye care centers.
Security experts have called for the involvement of youths, traditional and religious leaders in the fight against insecurity in the country. They made the call at a workshop with stakeholders on institutionalizing peace building and supporting local peace facilitators in the northwest and northeast regions of Nigeria in Yola. Salis Lawan filed in this report.
The need for a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria, issues of reintegration of ex-combatants in the society took center stage at the workshop organized by the Center for Peace and Strategic Studies, Modibo Adama University, Yola. Dr. Jude Momodu is the director for the center in Mau. He speaks on the essence of the workshop and the strategy to achieve peace in the northeast and northwest.
Yes, the whole idea about the program is the need for states within the northeast to institutionalize peace building within their states. Already there are about 1 or 2 states who have already set up a peace commission or peace agency.
Secretary to the Adamawa State Government, Bashir Ahmed, who attended the workshop, said the state government had gone far by establishing Peace Commission, an agency, he said, supported local peace building facilitators.
So one principal step we took as a government to ensure a sustainable fight, if you like, to security challenges in the state. Having realized the security issues.
Vice Chancellor Modibo Adama University, Yola, Professor Liman Tukur, said to institutionalize peace in the northwest, northeast, and Nigeria as a whole, respect for one another must be taken into consideration.
We advance peace, we work for peace, and we wish and always look forward to contributing towards peaceful coexistence.
Country Director, United States Institute of Peace, Ambassador Zango Abdu, harped on the imperatives of peace in Nigeria following the recent conflict and multiple security challenges facing the country.
Like I mentioned in my welcome remarks, peace is central for sustainable development anyway. And more than ever before, peace is central to sustainable development in Nigeria with the area of conflicts and multiple security challenges facing our country.
The workshop was aimed at bringing stakeholders in the security sector to brainstorm on ways of building peace in the country, with particular emphasis on northern Nigeria. From Yola, Silas Lowen, Trust TV News.
According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, roughly 32% of world fish stocks are overexploited, depleted, or recovering and urgently need rebuilding. In Sokoto State, government says it is working to change the narrative by supporting fish farmers to enhance productivity as part of the state fisheries development program. Idris Jibrin, who visited some of the water bodies and fish farms, now reports.
Fish farming is a form of agriculture in which fish are raised in enclosures to be sold as food. In Sokoto State, it is the fastest growing area of animal food production.
In the areas of fisheries development, this is an area that has been neglected before. But as I'm telling you now, the state government is well repositioning that sector. We have realized that our fishermen depend naturally on the natural fish they find in these waters. And these are being depleted. So the state government decided to restock these rivers and lakes.
Across the state, water bodies are being restocked with over 1 million high-premium fish, in addition to the distribution of fishing boats to fishermen as part of efforts to enhance productivity.
The fish actually will have two sub-components. We have artisanal and we have the culture fisheries. When I say artisanal, it means those fishing on the river. One other culture, it means fish farming. So there are some understanding or some cooperation between our ministry and this category of farmers and the fishermen.
To fully sustain the program, fish farmers across the state are also being encouraged to grow further in their businesses by providing them with loans and other professional advice on how to effectively manage their farms.
Prior to this moment, we had very few, 2 or 3 fish farms in the state. It's now over 1,000. So you can imagine the phenomenal increase from 3 or 4 to about 1,000. Farms, yes. Some are big, some are medium, some are small, some are homesteads. And within this period, we were able to mobilize a lot of people, a lot of youth, a lot of women in Pada, that is those that I kept as housewives, were able to support their activities.
While fish farmers continue to record considerable gain owing to the state government various intervention program, it is hoped that such gesture will be replicated to further enhance fish production across the state. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Sokoto.
Newly appointed Statistician General of the Federation, Semiu Adeniran, has been sworn in. His swearing in follows the death of his predecessor, Simon B. Harry. Chamon Dabeng witnessed the event and now reports.
Days after his appointment by President Muhammadu Buhari, Semiu Adeniran was on Wednesday sworn in as the new Statistician General of the Federation at the National Bureau of Statistics headquarters in Abuja.
I, Prince Semiu Adeyemi Adeniran,
do solemnly swear
that
I will faithfully and honestly fulfill my duties as the Statistician General of the Federation / Chief Executive Officer, National Bureau of Statistics.
Fulfill my duties as the Statistician General of the Federation and Chief Executive Officer of the National Bureau of Statistics.
The new SGF paid tribute to the former SGF, late Simon B. Harry, who passed away in April 2022.
Ordinarily, it is a thing of joy and something worth celebrating for any public officer to rise to the pinnacle of his or her career. However, there is no doubt that the event that preceded this appointment remains a sad one, which we take time to heal in our hearts and our minds. So, at this point, I want to pay a special tribute to our dear former SG, late Dr. Simon B. Harry. We have observed a minute's silence for him. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Adeniran, in his address, informed all of his mandate and called for support to enable him succeed.
There will be considerable effort in ensuring that we deliver on our mandate as a bureau, which is our first priority as an agency of government. Hence, our initial focus will be on strengthening our technical operations by enhancing staff capacity to accurately produce, disseminate, and interpret statistics to inform policy design in Nigeria.
The new statistician general hit the ground running by calling for departmental briefings to bring him up to speed and pledged to pursue the vision of the Bureau with utmost dedication. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now, Chamun Dabeng is on Business News.
According to the Central Bank of Nigeria's head of corporate communications, Osita Nwanisiobi, rumors about a claimed sacking of CBN's governor Godwin Emefiele are false, stating that he is not aware of any sacking of the governor. Several online media blogs have published allegations of a purported sacking of Emefiele, with some stating that it was unconfirmed before publishing. With the introduction of the Contributory Pension Scheme CPS Retirement Pack, the National Pension Commission (PENCOM) has made significant steps to stop demarketing between pension fund administrators (PFAs) and insurance providers over sales of payment choices to retirees. According to the Commission, the steps would also ensure that pensioners were well informed before deciding on payment alternatives prior to retirement. There are two choices: programmed withdrawal (PW) and Retiree Life Annuity (RLA). Mrs. Aisha Dahir Umar, Director General of PENCOM, who made this known, stated that fines will be imposed on PFAs that failed, neglected, or refused to educate would-be retirees on PW and RLA. The CPS Retirement Pack, she explained, is a publication of the Commission and the National Insurance Commission (NICOM). According to Mrs. Dahir Umar, the pack is a handbook for future retirees under the CPS that gives information on the two modes of receiving retirement benefits, PW and RLA, to help would-be retirees make decisions. To capitalize on the sector's potential, the federal government has granted tax reliefs and other incentives for tech businesses. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) gave its consent to further leverage the country's digital innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem during its meeting following the presentation of a memo by Professor Isa Pantami, Minister of Communications and Digital Economy. The gift will allow for the execution of measures to encourage and support the formation and expansion of more innovation-driven enterprises (IDEs), which have the potential to create millions of new employment in the country. This would also aid in the development of innovative solutions to social problems, as well as the rapid growth and diversification of the economy, in accordance with the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy (NDEPS) for a digital Nigeria. That's all for Business News. I am Chamun Dabeng.
Nigeria and Ethiopia have concluded arrangements to hold a joint ministerial commission meeting in Addis Ababa next month to discuss areas of bilateral relationship and exchange perspectives on issues of mutual interest. This came to the fore as President Muhammadu Buhari hosted the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, to a state visit and a presidential lunch. attended by the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, and Ethiopian First Lady Zinaj Tachachu in State House, Abuja on Wednesday. A major outcome of the visit is the desire of both countries to take concrete steps to expand bilateral relations in key areas, including the economy, trade, science and technology, solid minerals, among others. Nigeria's ambassador to Ethiopia, Victor Adeleke, spoke on the essence of the visit and the burgeoning state of relations between both countries.
The state of relations between Nigeria and Ethiopia is very warm, and we're working together. Especially, we soon be convening the Joint Ministerial Commission to discuss various areas of relationship which will be beneficial to both countries. This is just the cracking. We have been engaging. We'll continue to engage. Nigerian officials are heading to Addis Ababa in June to discuss various areas of relationship, political, economic, science and technology, mines, industries.
There's a group of 4 countries that traditionally have sort of been the engine of the African continent. That has been Ethiopia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Algeria. And so there's also a move to revive the G4, of these 4 countries that really can act as, the real dynamo, the real engine for African development, and also act as a unifying force trying to bring other African countries together.
Senior officials from Sweden and Finland have met with Turkish counterparts in Ankara in an effort to overcome Turkey's objections to the Nordic nations' bids to join NATO. And submitted their written applications to join NATO last week. The move represents one of the biggest geopolitical ramifications of Russia's war in Ukraine and could rewrite Europe's security map. Turkey has said it opposes the country's membership in the Western Military Alliance, citing grievances with Sweden, to a lesser extent Finland's perceived support of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, and other entities that Turkey views as security threats. The PKK, which is listed as a terror organization by several of Turkey's allies, has waged a decades-long fight against Turkey, a conflict that has killed tens of thousands of people. In sports, let's join Adeniyi Ajisafe for sports update.
Following Nigeria's decision to withdraw from international events for 2 years, World Basketball Governing Body, FIBA, has threatened punishment against Nigeria. FIBA says Nigeria could face sanctions because of the withdrawal, citing Article 9.7 of FIBA's General Statute, which states that national member federations shall handle their business freely and without third-party influence. According to FIBA, Nigeria in the coming month is due to participate in the FIBA 2020 Basketball World Cup qualifiers and FIBA 2022 Women's Basketball World Cup. Non-participation in the said event could mean a withdrawal from Paris 2024 Olympic qualification process. Similarly, depending on third-party result, the same situation could apply with respect to FIBA AfroBasket 2025. Any withdrawal of Nigeria from the above-mentioned competitions will trigger potential disciplinary sanctions as per the FIBA internal regulations.
And with that, we have come to the end of NewsHour on Trust TV. For more news, connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Ayinde Shuaga, thanking you for watching.